Welcome to Beyond Perception. My name is Simon, and I'm excited to welcome my friend Mark as my guest today. Mark, the two of us met in the Amazon this year. And from what I know, you are a strategy and management consultant coach based in New York. And that's not the reason why we come together for this conversation today, but it is that you started a group called The Inquiry. And I believe you're running this inquiry for more than a year now. From what I know, and you might correct me if that's wrong, it emerged out of a trip into the Amazon. And also I'm participating in this group since the both of us met. And that's kind of the pre-context, or that led us to agree on this conversation here today about self-inquiry. So I'm very excited. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Simon. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah. And yes, it started about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was just joking to you before the conversation. Usually I prepare myself for the conversations, and this time I was also sitting down and I thought, like, what can I actually prepare for a conversation about self-inquiry? And you had an interesting answer to that. And if you may want to pick up on there, I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
That could be a good way to start our inquiry. Because I think in my world, if you come into an inquiry with any preconceived notions or preparation whatsoever, that probably limits the possibility of what could emerge in an inquiry itself. Because in an inquiry, what you're inquiring into is what you know that you don't know. So coming with questions is already what you know.
So maybe we should make a little disclaimer that you shouldn't expect any answers from this conversation.
I think that's a good,
questions.
Yeah. I think that's a good disclaimer. And along the same lines, I think another part of the disclaimer is that you shouldn't expect much.
What's the point of it?
Exactly. Well, it's not to arrive at an answer. It's not to arrive at a destination. I think it's more or less given by something that we're curious about discovering, or a question that we want to know. And for me, it usually always starts with, like, when I become a question to myself. That's why I'm not trying to know something.
Yeah, and that's maybe so. What I was thinking, no, self-inquiry. Those are two terms. You started sharing your perspective on the term inquiry, what that could mean or what that is about. And what about the other term, the self?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, if you had an inquiry into self,
yeah.
To me, it lives more like the only people that would be interested in participating in an inquiry would be people who are at a place in their life where they become a question unto themselves, like, who am I? Or what am I? And then you just look.
I mean, I know you a little bit. So what did you came to realize over the last couple of years in terms of who you are?
Well, I don't have an answer about that as far as who I am. It's more like, I feel like when I arrive at again, I'm talking in a kind of language that's about subject object. I just said arrive.
Yeah.
As if in an inquiry you're going to arrive at some destination. But what I'm discovering in an inquiry, in my life, is maybe there's no place to go.
Which doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any, no, exactly. That's the whole point. It doesn't make any sense. part of the inquiry would be you'd have to be willing to leave sense behind, or what makes common sense, our common sense.
So it's really about questioning one's own understanding of self and who one
you could say that
one is.
Yes, you could say that. Particularly if we take on something like, who am I?
Yeah.
We're looking at that I. That I am, and not taking anything for granted about the I.
I think in some spiritual practice, it's called neti neti. I'm not this, I'm not that. This is a way to get closer to an understanding of the I, or how would one start an inquiry?
Obviously. Well, we're in it. So we don't have to worry about starting it. My experience is that we're in it. And you just said something about neti neti, and I'm looking for myself. The thing about neti neti is it makes sense. I would explain it to people that way. Neti neti. But for me, in my inquiry, I'm not discovering anything. I'm kind of repeating something that I've understand. Like when I arrive at this, a sense of what we're talking about, there's words for it, like self or truth of being or anything like that. Almost anything I have to say about it, or for me, is an experience.
So in a way, it's through questioning and through the use of language, it is about pointing or getting closer to something which is only to be experienced?
Yes. And, when you just said questioning and the use of language, I think that has a lot to do with it. Language. Yeah. I mean, without language, there would be no questioning. So in a way, it all comes down to language. But of course, we could get off base if we start going, well, what's the language, or how can I use the language, or anything like that. What I'm discovering is that, as human beings, we live in the world. I mean, I take it for granted. I used to just take it for granted. I lived in the world. I mean, I never questioned that. What do you mean? Of course, I live in the world. The more I look, like I'm talking to you, and you're on, on Zoom on my computer screen, and then I look out the window and I see buildings. I'm actually in New York City at the intersection of Broadway and Wall Street. So although, as you said before, this came out of the Amazon, the jungle, this in a way people have described as a different kind of jungle where my apartment is. But I look out and I see, it seems like life is made up of these forms.
Yeah.
Buildings. I see a long line of buses on the street because it's almost rush hour here now in New York City, because it can get congested. So I look out my window on the 11th floor and I see people and everything like that. So all I'm seeing is meaningful forms. Meaningful forms. And sometimes I wonder, if there were no language, would I see anything? And I'm including myself. I can't see myself. I can't see myself. But to myself, I'm meaningful. When I think about myself, the I, when I think about that I think of that I as a thing, like an object called with my name on it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I can see it, but I only can see it because when I think about it, it means something to me. And so when I look at who am I, I'm questioning, but am I really the meaningful form that I think I am?
Language is a means to create meaning.
Well, the only thing with that is what you said. Language is a means to create meaning. What I'm questioning is the means. When I look out at the buildings and when I think, who am I?
Yeah.
It seems there's meaning there. I don't have a experience of myself creating the meaning. It seems like the meaning is, or the language, because that's what meaning is. There's thoughts. I mean, I look out and I see the building over there,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think there was anything there. There was something there, and then they put the language or the word building on whatever's there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something inherent in the world we live in. So when I look at that, it seems more like I don't use language. Language uses me, or I'm used by language. I don't have a choice about it. I don't have a choice. I don't think I have a choice about meaning. I cannot not see meaningful forms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's almost as there's a projection, including the eye, which is clouding the view, and it's kind of covering everything I look at.
Well, I don't see, but when I look out, I don't see any projection or clouding the view. It seems when I look out, I mean, it's a pretty clear day today. When I look out, I see a building.
But you said I see a building, so there's this ominous I which is seeing it.
Yes, there's an I that's seeing it, but what I'm questioning then, that returns me back to where we started.
Yeah.
But what is that I? Or where is that I? Or what is that I?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the more I look, it seems like if I don't examine it, Socrates said, Socrates is one of the, if there was a father of inquiry, maybe arguably it could have been Socrates. I mean, that's all the dude did in the forum in Athens.
And he paid a price for it. Huh?
No, that's true. He did pay a price for it.
Whoever the he is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I could see the degree that I used to take the I for granted. Like, what do you mean I'm not real? What do you mean I don't exist? The more I look, it seems that the I that I refer to myself as, that I, it exists in language, or it's an expression of language.
So the way I see myself is like this Simon character who was separated from my wife, and there's a doggy, and there's you, and I am here, and I'm separate from.
Yes.
There's here's the boundary of I'm going till here to the my skin or my energetic body or whatever, but then it ends, and then something else starts, and that's how I think I am.
Exactly. And don't you kind of take it for, you don't even, we just don't question that. It's just, well, of course.
Exactly. I had a couple of realizations which kind of, and I think that also led me to having this conversation with you and being part in your inquiry. But sorry, you want to say something?
Well, but here's what I'm starting to question what I don't quite get about it. Because what you said by default, automatically, that's what I think too. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. To live in this world, it seems like we cannot not think. And, I don't think we have a choice about thinking. I mean, I guess when you're meditating, you're thinking, but I'm just talking about day to day, moment to moment living. So in what you just said, which I get, here's what doesn't make sense to me though. I'm looking across at this skyscraper out my window, and it does seem that it's over there. No, it seems it's over there. And I'm here. So I'm saying, where is the seeing happening? Like, if I were really here, would I be able to see that skyscraper over there? What does that mean? It's just like that's when it gets interesting for me. Because science says, well, this light rays and I see it. Most I would take it. Well, what do you mean I see it? I see it here.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I can put this in words, but I had this kind of revelation that in order to see something, there must be someone who sees it. But
there must be someone who sees it. Yes.
But then at the same time, to know that there is a seer, there must be someone else who recognizes that there's something which sees that it sees. No, but
yes.
Where's that?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. If
who is that? Because I cannot be the one seeing then if I know that there's this instance of there must be something beyond. So I'm not sure if I can describe that at all, but
no. Well, that's what this would be pointing to, because see, if I'm seeing that building outside my window, I must somehow be there. I must somehow be there, because I can't explain how that big building would be inside of me, that I'm seeing it like a subject object. It's almost like I must be there.
But what you're kind of saying, you're seeing yourself.
Huh?
You're seeing yourself.
Well, in essence, yes. Now, the only caveat, I don't know about myself.
Yeah.
But it really could be the self. Because it just makes sense to me that when I look out, these meaningful forms are arising. They exist inside of my awareness. I can't see my awareness. I can't see it. I can only see what I see that seems to be arising or unconcealed in my awareness. But see, if I was really here, I don't think I could see what's there. All I know is everything I look at is a meaningful form.
Basically, what you're seeing, you cannot be. Or also you are, but...
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, this is again going back to the I. When we think of ourselves as this I, me, and I would think me, but there's a place where even this thing called me, I'm aware of. I'm aware of. That's me. I'm aware of this form called me. It seems though, this form called me is arising or being unconcealing itself inside of my awareness, or if I look out at me and all these other objects, that seems like it's my life. Right now, it's my life. I'm in this world. I'm a being in this world. But I can't see the world itself. I'm only seeing the content of the world. I'm not seeing the world itself. I'm not seeing life itself. I've never seen life itself. I'm just always can see the forms of life that arise or emerge inside of the kind of clearing I am, or inside of the world I am. But see, I'm life. No, but I am life. So I think there's a possibility of, I think all my difficulties and any of my suffering and any of my attachments and any of me wanting to do something or anything like that, I think it's me getting lost in the forms of life or attached to life, because it seems like these show up. Mm-hmm. And I forget that I'm the clearing for it all. If I were dead, there'd be no life. And if I have a thought, well, what do you mean there'd be no life? There were things here before I was born. That's more meaning. So in this inquiry that I'm doing, more and more and more, I'm able somehow miraculously, because life is a miracle. It's unexplainable. It's unexplainable. How the world came into existence is unexplainable. Well, science explains it, but that's just the new myth. Because the old myth God is dead and all that stuff that happened, and then science arose. So it's a new myth instead of the old myth. But they still can't. It's still a myth. In the same way the old myth explains stuff, science explains stuff. And I used to think that everything that science said was true. Yeah. But it seems completely preposterous to me, even when I think there was a Big Bang. I used to think that was the truth. The universe came into existence in a Big Bang. But if it came into existence in a Big Bang, who was there to hear it? Who was there to hear it? How come it was a Big Bang? And then science comes up with this explanation to back up what their theory. But that's no different than Greek gods. The myths of Greek gods. Well, what is this? How do we get here? And they came up with a myth, and they backed that up with plenty of evidence. Science is not going to figure, how did life happen? They haven't figured it's a miracle. See, so if life is a miracle is just something that you can't understand. So when I look in this inquiry, who am I? A miracle. I'm a friggin' miracle. And so are you and everybody else. And we just forgot because we bought hook, line, and sinker the Western way. Materialism and rationalism. Which is useful. I mean, it's amazing. Our mind, our thinking, the I that we were talking about that doesn't really exist. It's relatively real, not absolutely real. It's a miracle that we have this, that we can think, that we can be intelligent, that we've been able to, man has been able to create the world that we live in. But at least I look out in New York City, so it's largely a creation of the human mind. So it's amazing. I need it to survive. It's a function. If I didn't have this sense of I that was separate and could think and put things together, I'd be dead. So there's nothing wrong with it. What happens though, is I continually catch myself getting lost in it. Getting lost in it. I mean, I'm a somebody. To be in this world, we all have to be somebodies. I think where we get completely confused and dazed is when we get lost in our somebodiness. Instead of having our somebody as a kind of avatar that lets us enjoy our life or navigate through life. We make it into something that has a lot of meaning and significance.
So what you're saying implies also a few things. If I don't have a different context and I think I'm separate and I think I'm this personal me and making life about me and my needs, and that is an experience of separation. No, and
Yes.
and it's out of context. You spoke of relative truth.
Relative, yes. It's relatively real. Yeah.
Yes, and the other thing you mentioned, and you didn't say that, but it like that's the implication to me. When one realizes, starts opening beyond this personal eye, or seeing things in a different context, you spoke of the absolute truth. That also,
Yes.
to me, implies that there is no separation. There's an inherent connectedness, wholeness. Like it's one thing. And there's no against each other. And like and that's kind of to conclude that, and that also, like, from that point of view or context, also having this personalized personal eye as a vehicle of experience, that you might start using it in a different way. What do you think about that? And instead of making it about you, it's more like in the web of life.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean by it can be used as a function. This form, this thing that I call myself, which is necessary for my survival in this world, I can use it as a function. That's why we've been able to create everything that man has created has been possible by the use of the mind as this brilliant tool. It's miraculous. It can't be explained.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is don't get trapped in it. And I sometimes find myself absorbed into that somebodyness. And as soon as you're absorbed into that, you become a thing separate from other objects. I mean, look at it. It's so stupid. You know, I just got this. I went up to my brother's, who lives up in Kennebunk, Maine, and he had this amazing light, this halogen light that he got from Amazon. It was great. I loved it. So I asked him to, he sent me the link for it, and I went on, and it was sold out. So what do? I go into Amazon, right? And, you put in halogen light and you get 500 things come up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at all, and I want to get, I don't want to spend this amount of money, and, I want a certain price range. And then these ones come up where they're clip-on to the side of the desk.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't take up room on the desk. I said, oh, that's really nice. See, so that's what I'm talking about. I need my separate eye as a tool, right? And then he can get all these touch controls and, different colors and intensities. I'm going to get that one. All right. Well, what should I get? Should I get a white one or should I get a black one? And so I said, I'm going to get the white. So the white comes and I hook it up, and I have my halogen still on my desk, and I hook it up, and then I go, you know what? This color light, it seems the quality is different than the light from the halogen. It seems like my halogen light has a softness to it. And so then I'm going back and forth from my halogen light to the new LED light. What's best? Well, this is Amazon. I can just return it anyway. And then I finally was okay, I'm going to get say with the white one. And then I go, maybe I should have got the black. Maybe the black is a lot better than the white. You know what? I could get the black. I could, because this is Amazon. I could just, and I have Amazon. I could just return that. You know what? I think I'm going to order the black, and then I'm going to see both of them, and then I'm going to pick which one is better. I'm lost. Can you see? I'm completely lost. I'm taken over. I'm not what I said. I'm not the clearing for life itself, in which forms just arise and, deform and change into something else. I'm completely absorbed into the halogen light. Like this is a significant thing that's happening in my life that'll give me meaning. So that's just now. Before, that was what my life looked like, stuff like that. Now I can at least, it's a miracle. I don't know how this happens, is that I can wake up. So enlightenment for me, or waking up, it doesn't occur for me anymore as like this event that happens in your life. And once you wake up, you're up. Or once you're enlightened and you go to nirvana, you're in nirvana. Waking up to me happens moment by moment by moment by moment. And it's almost like if I wasn't lost, if I wasn't lost, trapped in what Buddhism calls the darkness of ignorance, I'd never be able to wake up. So the more I play with this, the I that I am, it seems to live in reality, and I seem to see reality as a paradox. And I'm emerging this, whatever I am, because you can't, as soon as I think I know what I am, it puts me back into lostness. Seems to live in the space between, in the paradox itself, in the tension that emerges in the paradox itself. And that way, for some reason, it returns me back to just where I belong is here now, not lost in a journey that's taking me to the future when I have the halogen light that I really love. The same thing going to the Amazon. You know that I've been to the Amazon 6 times, but it would be the same thing. Like the journey taking me to the Amazon, because that's when I feel really complete and whole around nature, rather than in the concrete jungle that they say is like Wall Street. But for some reason, when I wake up, it's that inner sense of belonging. Just being here on my home ground. Every place could be our home ground. That's another way of saying it. The I that we are can always be at home, can always return to its source, where the I disappears and all there is the presence of self.
Yeah, what you mentioned is the tendency of this personal I to cling to things, not to fixed answers, to some fixed ideas or locations, or some rituals or whatever. Now I found the way. and then you end up continuing your suffering, because no form is permanent. It must dissolve at some time. No, as long as you are identified with something which is seemingly fixed or form, it must fall down, and you will suffer. It cannot be any other. No, it's
yes,
it's a miracle. Yeah, but then still there's tendency. Yeah,
yeah. As you're saying this jokingly, I mean, that when I go into the Amazon, when I've done ayahuasca, right?
Yeah.
So I've done ayahuasca maybe a dozen times, right? When I first started doing ayahuasca, oh my God, I was like blown away. I got a taste of God. It was like one of the most significant things I've done in my life, right?
Yeah.
But the last couple of times I've done it, it's been no big deal. It hasn't been exactly drinking water. I really got it. There's no place to go anymore.
Yeah.
And I could see in that thinking I, there's the illusion that there's some transcendent place to go that isn't here.
Yeah.
But once you've arrived here, there is no place to go. But that's what, when I was doing ayahuasca and other stuff, I could just see it was a portal to this other state of consciousness. And it was a kind of feeling of bliss but I always came down somewhat. So then there's this illusion, well, let me be with God again or whatever. Let me be fooling myself.
And that's again the tendency of this personal I to cling to experiences or special states.
Yes.
And, when I get there, then I can arrive. And you keep on like missing who you are right now, or like what's going.
No, that's the heart of it. That is the heart of it. Exactly. So I don't know who I am, even though I'm never going to know who I really am, even though if I'm, if someone meets me and they go, who are you? I'm going to do the conventional answer. I am, I'm a consultant or Where do you live? Or I live in New York City. No, where I live is everywhere. And nowhere. See, I'm not going to say that directly. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll get to the point where I will in my own evolution, but I'm still getting stuck in this world. Yeah. I haven't woken up sufficiently.
I think if I had listened to this conversation some time ago, would have been like, they're insane. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, they're kind of a little bit lost somewhere. Like, I will move on. That's not helpful at all. And I had a podcast, I think maybe last week, and we talked about the meaning of life. And and I said, my realization is there's no meaning to life.
Yes,
it just is. And my partner that didn't make any sense to him, and he started going into philosophy and spiritual teachings and kind of bringing all this back. And so we didn't really get to a mutual understanding here. But that's kind of the common perspective in our world. No, that's you must make sense. We must achieve something. There's a purpose.
Exactly. No, that's it. There's the purpose.
We must find the purpose, and then we look for it everywhere, and we do things. And
I think bliss is when you've discovered that there's no purpose at all in living life other than living.
That has a lot of implications, because what you're saying, that implies there's no obligations for me. Who I am is free. Life is not conditional. I don't need to earn my right to exist or do things to prove that I did a good job here on earth. No, it's just a freedom which emerges out of that realization.
Totally. And it doesn't take many lifetimes to burn off karma. It can happen now, right now. That's where the being, doing, and becoming of life becomes play versus obligation. Because as long as we're living and I've got this functional piece here to play, I'm still a human being. So I'm going to be doing, being, and becoming. But the doing, being, and becoming can become play instead of like obligation, and that I have to do something to get someplace because there's nowhere to go.
Which opens the realm of possibility and creativity and insights and a complete different experience for the personal I as well. No?
No, that's it. That's it right there. No, who we are. I think I've discovered that who we are is pure possibility. In the work that you and I, because you've been in the inquiry for a few months, when they go, emptiness is self, or this world is the manifestation of emptiness, then it's pure possibility. It's us. Everything's pure possibility. So you're living a life that's pure possibility. All there is wonder and awe.
It's not personal anymore.
Yes, not personal anymore. We can thank Descartes and Isaac Newton and for that.
Why?
Because before Descartes, I think, therefore I.
Are you fed up of being paralyzed in a corset of rules and dependencies, seeing no way out because of doubts or senselessness, bumbling along numbly in your job or just toiling away, believing that something is wrong with you, or simply swimming in the conformity soup? In other words, wasting your life waiting around? If that's the case, you came to the right place. The Art of Creating workshop is all about waking up from your trance and revealing without doubt the incredibly creative spirit lying within you, reconnecting with your unique intuition and giving you powerful creative tools that empower you to create your life regardless of the circumstances the way you love it. Big words? Yes. But not even close to the reality and possibility of you. So sign up here now, let yourself be creatively blown away and wake up to the wonder of you.
What does that mean? That means the only thing that's real is I am. I think, therefore I am. Now, Descartes still believed in God, in God's image, but we were the thinking things. I think, therefore I am.
So there's
and
separation.
No, completely separate, because everything else was matter, cold matter, including our body. Before that, there was no personal I, really, because before that, it was a theocentric world. Now, man was at the center of the world. His relationship with God was at the center of the world. But because it was creatio ex nihilo, created from nothing, everything had a soul. So everything was somehow connected. Even though, and we were at the top of the great chain of being, but there was a sense of connection there that got cut. And then you had the arising of the subjectivity, the autonomous I, the moral self. Morality was no longer with the divine. It was the arising of the moral self, who, given that there's nothing, it's meaningless, or nothingness, meaningless, then it was the human will who was able to posit its own values. But because then there was this leap, well, because other human beings also have values and everything, that's how the community happened. The community of like brotherhood happened. But it was all by morals. That in progress. See, the I, if you look, when I looked at the I that was in my thinking, nothing was good enough. There was always some progress, always some place for me to develop myself, to grow to.
But it totally makes sense, no? Because if the core of this identity, I believe I am, is a sense of separation, no? It separates me from everything. So that's the core assumption of the thing I call myself, is I am separated. So that must, like, when I come from this point of view, it must inform all the actions I do in life. It carries an intention or motivation of lack, because I'm lacking wholeness, connectedness. I'm separate. So it must create this experience of separateness and lack.
That's the I.
Yeah.
The I stands out. The I stands out. Like, I might have shared this with you, but this happened to me a few months ago. I went into my kitchen. I was just getting a cup of coffee. I dropped the coffee cup and it broke. I just looked at it for a minute and I go, oh, the coffee cup broke. I saw that my whole life up until that moment was that the things happened to me. Like, before I would have dropped the coffee cup and I would go, I can't believe I did that. How can I do that? Or I'm clumsy or something like that. But that's the I, where looks out at the world, and it does look like the world's out there, and we're the center of our life or universe, and things just don't happen in life. Things happen to us.
Mm-hmm. So we take everything personal.
Yes.
And always reference everything that happens to the I, which is a product of imagination.
Right. No.
That is
completely.
Core.
Not only that, what you're saying, that's where the reason comes in, the rationality, because right with that is why, because. Why did I drop the coffee cup? Because
causality.
I wasn't.
That's where karma comes in. Causality.
And that's what drives people into therapy for years and years and years, because they want to know why they behave the way they do. There must be a good reason. It can't be that just I am the way I am and things happen the way they happen.
Or change the I.
Yes.
Which
insane,
is
right?
From a point of absolute truth or this other context, it doesn't make any sense. Actually, it's fighting with a fata morgana. No, it's like trying to change a fata morgana.
Yes. But what you're saying is so true. And when you actually get it, you then can be able to laugh at the absurdity of life, the absurdity of your own life. And realize there's nothing wrong. You don't have to change a thing. But that's why I can laugh at this absurdity of wasting an hour and a half over a friggin' lamp, white or black. I mean, really, it's complete. Sometimes I'm completely absurd. When I get caught up in the somebodyness of me, the somebodyness of me. So the somebody that I am no longer becomes this function that allows me to navigate the world, because I become attached to it. And then I do crazy things. Oh my God. I could tell you stories that happen. Obsession over earbuds, the right earbuds. Did I get the blue one? The earbuds, did I get the best? Oh, no, I didn't get the best. Oh, I'm going to return these and get the best.
The irony is, from within this personal I, everything makes sense. And I need to work it out to kind of get to some better place. But from outside, it's like looking into like a hospital for insane people, kind of being totally deluded and trying to optimize their own delusion, but which from the other point doesn't really exist. I mean, it's there, but it doesn't define in any way what's possible or who you are. Right. It's just a layer of kind of conceptual thinking or rationality, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy, which feeds itself. It's like within the thinking is, if I work it out, if I change this, if I do this better, then somehow I get to a different place. But that's kind of continuing within the maze of this self-constructed perception.
No, you said it. You said we optimize our own delusions.
Yeah. And then we think that's the solution. No? But
right, then we think there's a solution to our delusions.
So I got a story which to me illustrates this dynamic very much. So from within my personal I, it's like being in a prison. And then I approach my choices from within the prison. Yeah, I can improve the prison. Like I can join a gang in the prison, and I can make a deal with the ward of the prison to get some benefits. I can optimize it. No, I can have optimizing in my experience. But the real question is to be in prison or not. No, that's
No, that's it.
That's,
Yeah.
you could say that's the choice we really have, each one, no?
Yes, that's the only choice. And you know what? The interesting thing is you say that because I'm seeing if it all track. I don't even know if it's a choice. That's the
another question.
Because I don't know if I get to a place where I can go, okay, I could choose this or choose that. Because if it was really a choice, why would I ever choose to stay in prison? I think something happens.
Yeah.
That's a miracle that we wake up or we hear somehow hear like the call of being, or there's a silent calling, or we're willing to turn our life over to the mystery of being or life itself. But when that happens with me, it doesn't even occur like a choice, or it's like a choiceless choice. That's why I think letting go of the I is nothing short of breaking through the will. Just breaking through the will. Our human, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't have a definitive answer, but like I see it from the perspective of my personal I have a choice. I have a choice to engage in this or not. Right. I have a choice to to surrender to a higher possibility or not. So from this perspective, there's a choice actually, and there's a possibility. There's a benefit in taking responsibility and not go like with whatever reactive tendencies and mind chatter but from the other side of this, what you refer to as absolute truth or this other context, everything just happens as it happens, and there was never really a choice I did. So that's
it's like this is it. Yeah. Because we're talking about a way of being, a way of life where one breaks through the human being. We're human, but we have the possibility of living life beyond the human being that we identify as ourself. Because even that's loaded. Even when you look at that, it is completely absurd.
Say that again. The name? Which name?
Yeah, the name is completely, it says the whole thing. Human being. What does it mean? We're the only species that has being. And they used to, another way to see human being is Homo sapiens sapiens. That's the full name. So it's not just Homo sapiens. And Homo, by the way, it derives from humus, earth. Obviously, sapien is no, but it's the full thing. If you look at it, is Homo sapiens sapiens, and not just that we know; it's that we know that we know, and that we know is the start of thought and self-reflection. It's the arising of the I that we know that we know. No other animals, no other species knows that they know. They just are.
It's like being in two worlds, which are really just one.
No, that's the possibility right there. That's the possibility. That's what I meant by maybe existence for a human being lies in our capacity to live the paradox of life that can never be solved, but all there is to do is include the paradox. Because that's what a paradox is. You can't solve, it's unsolvable. So when I started, like in my own life, when I just experienced this joy or bliss, is when I realized that I'm never going to get behind the mystery. That's the source. I can't ask myself why. It's just that puts me right back in. But if I can live life from that paradox of existence, that's joy. And that's what I heard in what you said.
I find this liberating, and that there is no purpose, like conceptually or whatever. And I find it. I find it relieving, and it's just a gift. Life is a gift. I don't know why I got this gift. I don't know why I'm here.
Not exactly, but
what for I'm here, but I'm here. I'm here, and I got this life gifted, and so I'm here. And
no, exactly.
In essence, more I don't know.
No, the way you said that, it's so because when you're able to see, it's a gift. It doesn't ask anything back. You don't have to do anything. It's a gift. But if I were inside of a Christian context, which you can easily see it all, it's magic.
Yeah.
That would be grace. Living life as a grace. And if you can live life from every moment is an expression of gratitude and grace. That's what, Ramana Maharshi would call Sat Chit Ananda, being consciousness bliss.
Maybe that's the segue to tell you this little story about this little guy. Because when he popped up, I named him Ramana. And then he left again, and we didn't know if he would come back. And a few hours later, he knocked the door. He was there. So we gave him a bless. He slept. He got some food. Then he left again. And so that went on for 2 days, and then continued staying longer here. And then it's a really interesting synchronicity. So a neighbor told us this is a Belgian Shepherd, a Malinois, I think. And then I started remembering Brenda, my wife, 2 months ago, she told me she would love a guardian dog, like a dog who protects her. No? And then I was like, oh, this is actually the perfect, Malinois Belgian Shepherd is the perfect protection dog. And I was like, oh, now he's here. And then she told me, Simon, at the time you told me that if we get another dog, it must be a puppy to be okay with our other 2 dogs. And so we were there, now we got a puppy who is very intelligent, learns very fast. And so it was oh, this is kind of weird that now he pops up here. And then the interesting thing comes, because Brenda has, my wife, she has an intention. And you could say a small prayer or intention every day. And so it goes along. I didn't know that. And so she's asked that every day, something along the lines of, may my dogs and dogs in channel follow me easily and gently by the grace of Ramana. And I was like, oh, now we have this little guy who just follows us without leash. And he was never trained from the streets. His name is Ramana. He is the perfect breed for a protection dog, a police dog. And he is young. And he's so obedient and calm and and you cannot make this up. This is beyond any rational understanding, just gifted, yeah. Now he's here, yeah. So that's beyond what I can understand, yeah. But that's what came to mind when you said the realms of possibility, It's
it's great. Yeah.
Mark, this has been a really joyful conversation with you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for being here, taking the time to explore this together. Is there, for any of our listeners, is there a way to get in touch with you if someone is curious to, you can think about it, and if there's a way we can add it to the description of this podcast, or
I'll add it to the description. That's funny. This is
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Oh, you know what? My email would be good.
Okay. Whatever works. Well, whatever you want, you can share that with me, and we can put it in the description. And if
that's right, because it's going to be listeners.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. We will share this.
Almost like the way you and I were engaging.
Yes. We surely have some listeners. Yeah. This will be available on YouTube and some other platforms. And Mark, yeah. Any last words from your side, or?
No, just this is just so much fun, and that's actually my. I think that's what life is. Living life fully is all about. If there's an expression between two people or groups of people of like, we have a sense of being fully alive and at the same time not swept up into any emotion, but have that sense of being fully alive, but it's a full aliveness that comes with an equanimity in the face of whoever you meet, whatever happens, then that to me is what's meant when the sages would say that's being in nirvana is samsara. Or what Kierkegaard says about eternity. He uses eternity as an atom of time, an atom of the moment. Every moment is an atom of eternity. I like monad because it reflects everything in every moment. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah,
really wonderful.
Maybe to be continued.
Yes, let's do it continued.
Yeah,
you know,
okay, let's do it. Yeah.
If we continued this and invited other people.
Yes. So whoever is listening and watching this, and there's intrigued or maybe some more open questions, please let us know them. You can comment down there and send us your ideas, questions, feedback, and we will pick it up in another conversation. Well, okay, that's it. Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Simon.
Yeah, have a good afternoon and
you
speak
too.
soon again. Thank you to our lovely audience. Yeah, all the best to you. Stay true to yourself and see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.